Tonight on the Big D and J-Rowdie show, we go to street racing made safe. Rowdy likes breaking drivetrain parts, and my car goes on the dyno.
All right. It has been a while.
Yes.
Okay, that looks good. I was looking at the program for a minute, and it was doing something funny. But we're back to normal. It's been a while since we fired up this program.
Yeah. Last time was after Streetcar Takeover.
Right, and lots of pops.
Yeah.
Lots of pops.
Yeah,
I don't know that we covered that event, and it's the best that we could have, but I can't remember most of it now, and most of it I care to forget anyway.
Right.
So we've been busy. Before we had Street Racing Made Safe come up.
Yeah.
That was a pretty big, high expectation.
Yeah. Well, it was a big event for me, like in my responsibilities.
Yeah.
With it.
Yeah. I mean, prior to that, if anybody follows the Bully page, they'd have seen that in testing to get ready for Street Racing Made Safe, I shit the diff in the Bully major. Every tooth of the pinion gear was gone.
Yeah.
So we hustled, got it together, and went to Street Racing Made Safe, which was going to be a fun event. It still was fun.
Yeah.
But we were pretty excited to be able to
way excited
to do street racing shenanigans and not have to worry about being in Flint and shot at and cops and all of that stuff.
Right.
So, but while I was there racing, you were there with Detroit Muscle doing your thing. What do you got going with that?
Yeah. Well, as we said in the last episode, I am a rep for Detroit Muscle now. And I do have a promo code now. You can go on Detroit Muscle USA, promo code HEMI. You get a free decal with your order.
So if I go onto the website
yes,
and I find some cool shit,
yeah,
when I check out, all I have to do is put in Hemi.
Yes.
And then I get a sticker.
Yes.
So, Hemi, sticker.
Yeah.
Free.
Yeah. Hemi, free sticker.
Got it.
Yeah.
2 seconds, get something free.
Yep.
Awesome.
So, just to let them know that I sent you, kind of deal. But yeah, we were there for them, and my wife and Adam was there, and Sabrina's friend was there, and Adam's soon-to-be wife was there. So we kind of ran the tent as a crew, and I was intending on getting video of your runs and some other things.
Right. Well, let's just put it out there that after my first hit, nobody had anything to do but run the Detroit Muscle tent.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of happy with. I'm really happy with the car and the power. I'm very disappointed with the car because braking shit is no fun, man. No fun at all. And I mean, the axles in it are rated at 1,400 horsepower.
Right.
I never got why anybody rates their axles at horsepower, because horsepower isn't breaking the axles.
Right.
Torque is breaking the axles.
Right.
So, but that's beside the point. I realize that torque and horsepower kind of correlate in the automotive world, but son of a bitch, I'm nowhere near that.
Right.
Nowhere near that. And it just broke right at the hit, and man, it left. That was the best cars left since No Prep in Streetcar Takeover.
The fastest foot and a half I've ever seen it go.
Shit, dude. And it actually sounded pretty good when it bounced off the rev limiter too. Not that that's how fast it happened. It just broke and went to the rev limiter instantly, right at the head. And I didn't even normally when I launch the car, I don't stall it up, and then I'll just straight up go from idle to floor.
Right.
I just rolled into this, not slow but fast, because there wasn't a water box for burnouts.
Right.
There wasn't, from what we had seen on previous runs, there wasn't very good prep.
Right.
But when I got out to look underneath my car, I put my knee down and barely could stand up.
Right.
Because my pants grabbed that.
Right.
So
I didn't, of course, was running the tent and doing stuff with you, but I never saw him touch up prep all night. Did you?
Well, what I saw was like that GTR was there.
Yeah.
Now,
Thing is
rules are
fast.
rules, though. Let me just point, like, I get that when you have a big company like that come to your event, you kind of bend a little bit.
Yeah.
But one of the things that was cool about the event was that it was street racing. It was arm drop, no timing lights were on at all,
Yeah.
and basically you could do dig, 20 or 40 mile an hour roll.
Right.
So obviously you can have a water box because the roll racers would be rolling through the water.
Right.
And you didn't use the staging beams. They didn't line you up in the staging beams.
No, they just.
The guy pulled you forward just like on Street Outlaws. They pulled you forward and then dropped the arms.
Right.
Did you notice when that GTR went up, he staged?
No.
He hit the beams, and they let him stage. And then he came up on boost, and then they let the light go, and then he went. You can't tell me that there wasn't somebody in that tower that was like, hey, GTR team, here's your time.
Right.
Otherwise, there's no reason to put them in beams.
Right.
So, but anyways, a couple times after that car went down, it's like he forgot to put his AC on or something. There was water on the track. So they would hit it with the mop and then spray VHT out a little hand sprayer over where they hit it with the mop.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe just doing a dry burnout actually made my tires stick.
Right.
I don't know. But I would have liked to have at least got 60 feet out of that and had a number.
Right.
Because it didn't leave like that since the no prep.
Right. Yeah.
Which has been the issue. We can either get it down the track shitty with a crappy short time, and then we make up for it with mile an hour and everything.
Mile an hour,
or we get it to hook good, like the last run at Streetcar Takeover, and then fuck up down track.
Right.
Like, it's never been, we can't put them together. But I'll tell you, with the mile an hour that I've seen on it, and the 60-foot that I've seen out of it, if I can put them together, it's going to be one hell of a ride. It's just getting them together without breaking shit.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So did I tell you about the fucking Beamer guy? So the car's broke. I'm not in a good mood. Just period, not in a good mood.
Was that the guy you told about the helmet?
Yes.
Go and tell us.
So I'm loading the car up. Clearly not in a good mood. In such not a good mood that, okay, Jeanette is new to the car shit. She has learned that when I break something, you come over and say, hey, it's okay, and then walk away.
Right.
Like, don't hang out.
Right.
And I'm confident that she would have brought me a pop had there been pop readily available.
Right.
And then she would have walked away. So I'm sitting there. I'm trying to talk to Billy because I have an obligation to tell him how I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I call like, hey, it broke. And I'm sitting there trying to talk to him. This douche nozzle in a Beamer shows up. And he's like, hey, man, I'm just a UPS driver. You know, I showed up and I had no idea. I don't have a helmet. Can I rent your helmet? Now, number one, his exact words were, can I rent your helmet so I can see what this baby will do? And I just kind of looked at Jeanette, and Jeanette just kind of looked at me, and I'm like, I just broke my car. I'm not in the mood to handle this right now. And he sat there in his car and looked at me for like a good minute. And Jeanette was like, this isn't a good time. Then he left. But the point is, he shouldn't have said anything after I said I broke my car. He should have been like, oh, okay. And then
well,
number one, see what this baby will do? It's a fucking no-time event. You're never going to see what it can do. You want to see what it can do here? Go get on the E-Way, Beamer boy. You're like, that's what I felt like saying.
It's obviously a new move, but,
well,
you know, I understand.
I seen him run later that night, and if he went to an NHRA track that was not that event, he wouldn't even need a helmet. It was like a 325i. So I don't know my Beamers. It was a 4-door, and nothing. It wasn't an M car. I know M cars are fast. It wasn't an M car. I don't even think it was an X drive. So it wouldn't have left for shit anyway. But I don't know. So that was that event. Like, And for those of you that don't know, I just bought a brand new helmet. I've worn it. It's been on my head 3 times.
Right.
Like, I'm not. It's not cheap.
You wear it more if you quit breaking stuff.
Dude, I'm about ready to put it on and run into something. I'm beating my head against the fucking ground with the car braking. I should put the helmet on when I do that.
Oh.
So you guys ran the Detroit Muscle Tent.
Yeah.
Turnout for the event was,
Yeah, I was expecting more.
Well, I was expecting more because of videos that they shared.
Yeah.
Then again, that was down south.
Right.
You know, there's lots more of the...
and this was like their first time coming here for this deal, so...
Michigan street race scene is different than Florida street racing.
Well, it's different over there on the west side of the state than it is over here. Also.
Yeah. But, I mean, I feel like there were guys from Indiana that came up. That CTSV was from Indiana.
Yeah.
It's just southern states have more. I mean, Florida, to me, I would bet that has more of a tuner culture.
Yeah.
Number one.
Right.
Or import culture, we'll say.
Yeah.
And then most of the feedback I heard from guys here was like, oh, I want a dig race, and I want a race, you know, like.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit different. It was cool. It was kind of like, from the videos I've seen, it was going to be like Race Wars.
Right.
Like the first Race Wars, Fast and Furious Race Wars. Yeah. Not Fast and Furious 7 Race Wars, but the first one.
Right.
And I was geeked for it. They're going to have a DJ. They're going to play that crazy
techno stuff.
Yeah, where you dance with the light up, the glow in the dark shit.
Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear that. They played a lot of Fast and Furious soundtrack, though.
Yeah.
I know that because Jeanette was singing along and dancing. But, I mean, it was... So we had a decent crowd for you to get your feet wet in the
yeah. Well, I think we did well for what
position.
Was there.
Yeah.
So...
Well, I noticed it came in spurts.
Yeah. At one point there was like 30 people.
Yeah.
It felt like. It was probably more like 20, but,
well,
you know.
That Marauder, that what the hell? Mercury Marauder car club showed up.
Yeah.
So maybe you got a bunch of guys just showed up, like we're walking and then they see, you know, who knows. But,
yeah. That's how that goes.
I can see a definite opportunity, though, with female leggings. Because some of them girls that were walking around there, I know there's somebody's daughter. But them shorts. And I mean, it got cold, dude.
Yeah.
At the end of the night, you know, at 11 o'clock at night, it was like...
We made a lot on...
55?
We made a lot on hoodies and long sleeves.
Right, yeah, just to, like... Them bitches needed pants. Huh. Like, they needed pants. Just saying. But, I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could tell when the sun went down...
Yeah.
People went for the hoodies and the long sleeve.
Yeah, that was a for sure thing.
So I just seen a lot more of those, like, come through the stands or go up by the starting line when I was up there.
Yeah.
So
I have to say, I think we did well for the size of the crowd, and it was a good experience to get us ready for Woodward next month.
Yeah, what should the listeners expect to see from you? Not you when I say you and Detroit Muscle, obviously not what you can expect to see from Detroit Muscle. Like don't get like I'm sure there might be stuff in the works that you can't share or something. But as far as you being a rep for them, what's going on?
I'm going to be at Hemi Insanity as a vendor for the racetrack day on Thursday, and we're going to be at the lot on Friday and Saturday as a vendor as well. So we're expecting to be fairly busy.
Yeah, on Saturday because I hear down in Pontiac at the Loop there, those are our people.
Yeah,
not just necessarily when I say our people, not Hemi people.
Yeah,
I mean there will be mostly Hemi people there.
Yeah,
but in that section, but that's where
those are my people.
That's where the cool shit happens because I sit in Royal Oak, where I see a lot of different cars.
Yeah,
but I don't see anything cool. So I'll be at the Loop this year. regardless.
Things get a little more exciting down in Pontiac, we'll say.
Yeah. Well, most of those guys can afford to pay any ticket that they want, as far as our crowd of Hemi people are concerned.
Yeah. Some of those guys make us look homeless.
Some of them do. Most of them. That's like kind of what's a little bit like hard for me to deal with. The bully shitting out rear end parts left and right.
Oh yeah.
The best fix is like, well, an $8,000 Dana 60, because I'm not putting a 9-inch in it. If I'm gonna spend the money, I'm just gonna put a Dana 60 in it. Number one, because it's Mopar.
Right.
And if I break a Dana 60, the world will know it, because that shit don't break.
No.
I mean, like, period. Like,
isn't the ring gear on those 9 3/4?
I am not 100% sure. I think that they're fairly big.
Yeah.
It's a big, and it's freaking heavy, dude.
Yeah.
But I mean, a 9-inch. When you break a 9-inch, you go to the Dana 60. When you break a Dana 60, I don't know what you do.
Military axles.
Probably. And see, that's another thing. Like, I broke an axle after the diff shit, and it wasn't really even the diff. It was just a pinion gear, the Richmond gear.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the axles that go in it are the exact same fucking axles.
Yeah.
So, and most people are like, well, you need to swap out your diff. You need to that. I'm like, I don't have the money.
Right.
I know I need to, but let's talk cost effective and what Justin can afford.
Yeah.
So, granted, I break axle after axle, and it adds up. Yeah. I mean, there'll be a point where I'll just stop and be like,
right.
We need to.
Well, we want to see the car make a full pass.
I don't care if I got to pull a shit ton of power out of it down low, and then just pour it back in way up top, so I don't break parts.
Right.
It hasn't gone any quicker. It hasn't gone substantially quicker than it did before.
Right.
It's mile an hour way more.
Oh yeah.
And that's all from the 60-foot. I mean, I was asking John, like, why didn't I break shit at Streetcar Takeover? And I go to this fucking thing and I break.
Well,
it was like, well, you didn't hook. Yeah. And, at Street Racing Made Safe, I ran at 15 pounds. And it hooked.
Yeah.
At that event, we dropped it down to what, 12?
Yeah.
And it hooked okay.
Right.
Not like that.
No.
So, Mid-Michigan, I think, dude, I want to race, not Mid-Michigan, I want to race 131 again. Like, I want to go back to that track. I don't care if it's a bracket race event or not. I want to go back.
Really, really nice facility.
Yeah. I mean, the facility itself makes Milan look like Lapeer. If you were to put them next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Milan is a very nice facility, but this is like, I mean, John Force used to go there. There used to be an NHRA stop.
Right.
It's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But, so we covered that. Your car had a bunch of work done to it.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how much we shared or how much you're willing to share about what's done.
Well, I kind of have an obligation to share.
Okay.
Actually. So we're just going to throw it right out there. You might have seen on the Facebook page that our good friend Adam started the project on my car because I've been working a extreme amount of overtime this spring and summer.
Extreme is an understatement.
Yeah. So the best time effective thing for me to do was to give him some overtime.
Right.
And let him do the job for me. Because, let's be honest, I was going to need you guys' help for the valve train work anyways. So, dropped my car off at his place, and he's doing has done a cam swap from Go for Broke, like, from Billy, and Thytech heads, Thytech ported intake manifold, and it's got a 90mm throttle body on it with some long tubes and a underdrive pulley. So it's a full bolt-on heads cam and intake car. No,
you can't really go much further with it.
No, I mean, it's as far as I can go on the stock bottom end without booster nitrous.
Right, and then you can't go any further on the stock transmission.
Right. Yeah,
So,
pushing the limit of the stock trans and creeping up on the limit of the rear end.
So when you sat down to think about this whole thing,
yeah,
when we obviously heard the go for broke cam, which let's back up. I don't know if everybody knows Billy. He did the motor build in my car.
Yep.
Which is, knock on wood, the only thing that hasn't broke yet.
Yeah.
Right. That's the only thing, and in fact,
I think that's what's doing the braking.
Yeah, that is what is the only thing Billy is guilty of is making way too much power.
Right.
And I don't think I could really be mad at him for that.
No.
So I think it's actually his motor is going to surprise a lot of people once it actually works, because there's a lot of people that say that it won't do what it's supposed to do. But so Billy is like, dude will just sit down and read shit and talk to people about. I mean, when you talk to the guy, he talks in measurements of like 10,000ths.
Yeah.
Like I know, like I can fathom that shit.
Right.
You know, he's very technical and very analytical on a lot of stuff.
Right.
So he put together this custom grind cam that, as far as I know, there isn't anything like it.
No.
That's available. Like, okay, a lot of stuff for our cars is not. You can get like the Comp 274 or whatever that's mass produced, but most of the other cams are from little, relatively speaking, little shops like Inertia and Southern Hot Rod did mine, and so I don't think there's one out spec-wise and timing event-wise that's comparable. And I really think what he did was he got talking to that dude at Crower that spec'd my cam.
Yeah.
And they just got talking in their fancy lingo.
Right.
And the guy was like, hey, and they come up with this together, which is a NA cam for, a stock motor. So there's no valve reliefs. It's basically the closest you're going to get to everything without changing your pistons out or anything.
I guess I only know it as the GFB1 Go for Broke.
Yeah. So
one cam. I don't know if he has a name for it yet, or if there is one, or
knowing him, it's probably just the GFB1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he. I've been trying to get a sticker. Now, those of you that know me know not a lot of stickers go on the car.
No.
Like, at all. But I've been so happy with what he did motor-wise, and even taking the time to help me through some of the issues that I had that were not related to him.
Yeah.
Basically, all his obligation was to build that motor and help me put it in.
Right.
And then, I had all those issues after I got it home with vacuum leaks and all this, and he was more than helpful with that.
Right.
I'm like, we need to put like a Go for Broke sticker on there somewhere, or something. And he's just, I think he finds more of the enjoyment in not really getting his name out there huge, but doing like working in the garage, building the shop. Instead of designing a logo, he would rather be checking valve spring pressure or,
Yeah. I get that from my dealings with him.
Yeah. So it's probably just a generic name. Now mine is actually, and this is really cool, it's my name. Yeah. So you have to have my name and you have to have my grind number and call and ask for it.
Oh.
So that's kind of cool.
I've only heard of that one other time.
So, really?
Yeah. There's a guy at work that has a 383 LT1 base 383.
Okay.
That his camshaft has his name on it too. But.
Yep. I think it's like listed under like a Go for Broke, Justin McMahon, and you have to have the, which is kind of cool. And I'm kind of in the dark still about it because I learned a lot about cams in this dealing, and I'll tell you what, lift and duration are like a quarter of the equation of power making. Like the timing events, which is the important shit, is way more important, and that I can't even get. So,
yeah, he's So he designed my cam,
So you went with him.
I was sold on it by the video of the one other car in the country
Yep.
that has it. And here's a juicy little tidbit. This other car is a 6.1 with this cam with, and I'm going to leave the company name out, but it's got another company's heads, another company's intake, a 90 millimeter throttle body, and I think it's got Cook's long tubes.
Right.
I have Headman. But it's as close as you're ever going to get to an apples to apples comparison. And I'll just say that this other company has
it's a pretty major
strong reputation.
Yeah, it's a big company.
Big company for Hemi stuff. So when the numbers finally come to light, it's going to be a big deal.
It's also kind of interesting because the Southern Hot Rod Shop tuned it.
Yeah.
And I mean, Billy and Eddie are friends.
Right.
I don't know if you ever heard stories like Eddie would tune it and get a number, and then Billy'd be like, I get more, and he'll go get it and get on it and get a number, and they'd go back and forth for a couple times with it. So Billy is also tuning the car.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just going to boil down to be friendly competition between Eddie and Billy.
Right.
But I'm really curious to see these big name heads, or big name company heads,
right,
versus your heads in intake.
Yeah.
Because the name, the ThiTech name, I think carries more weight now with the Gen 3 Hemi community than the other shop's name does.
Yes.
But there was a time when that was it.
Yeah.
Like, when you wanted anything, that's where you went.
Right.
So.
Yeah, Craig has got a legendary reputation for...
I've never been to Craig's shop, but in my mind, it's just a small, almost garage.
That's exactly what it is.
Where he does his work.
Yeah, it's got
and
3-4 CNC machines, and it's basically him.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, doing his thing.
Versus a company that's got a flipping, I mean, I don't know if we can say that they had a NASCAR program and not give away the company.
Right.
I mean, that's a big freaking deal there.
Right.
So I'm really, and I like pulling for the small guys in general.
Yeah.
So I really hope that it shows up.
Craig's a huge supporter of the Hemi community. He's one of the title sponsors of the Honor Street Hemi Shootout. And so it's, and I say but Detroit Muscle is now a sponsor of the Modern Street Hemi Shootout.
Right.
So it's kind of cool to work with other sponsors or whatever. And he actually is a supporter of my car as well.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, he did a lot of stuff. And you know what? Good. I don't know if he knows or not that it's going to be apples to apple comparison, like his heads.
I haven't told
his
him
heads
yet.
Versus that other company's heads.
I just found out about this apples to apples comparison on the way here from my meeting at Detroit Muscle earlier this afternoon.
All right. See, I knew about. Well, I talk to those guys like on a daily.
Right.
Like, I feel like the day isn't a complete day if I haven't talked or texted Eddie or Billy.
Right.
or something. But yeah. So Craig's got to be pumped too, because I'm telling you, I feel like it will make at least what that car did.
Yeah.
If not more. It'll be, I don't know what, if that other car was tuned on race gas.
Right.
Or where it was at, but excuse me. It'll be interesting to find out how closely. I think it'll make it at least to it, if not a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, let's see. Closest you're ever gonna come.
So you researched the cam based on sound, and then power was a byproduct.
Right. Yeah.
And then you went with Craig because it's Craig.
Right.
And
no, like once you hear this car, you'll understand why I was just like, yeah, I want that one.
right. I mean, that's a lot of people. Like, I wish my car loped, but I understand it can't.
Right.
Number one, it can't idle that low because it has to spin that blower.
Right.
And number two, it just, even if it did idle that low, if it idled that low, it wouldn't have any vacuum, period.
Right.
So it just won't. But blower cams aren't choppy anyway, is the general rule.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of a little jealous with the lope that it has, but understanding.
Well, yeah, we're kind of in two different spots, and
Dude, speaking of being in two different spots, holy shit, I'm like race car now.
Right. Yeah.
And you're almost there.
Yeah.
So my advice to you is going to be, if you want to keep your sanity, and your money, stop now.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had those thoughts, but so we had some parts availability issues doing the build, and like I didn't do 97% of the wrenching on this deal, but I've been so busy doing other things, running the rest of my life, and like running around for parts and coordinating everything on this build. I feel like I would never even have had time, but it's been exhausting for me. Like I said, I wasn't even doing the wrenching, let alone what Adam was dealing with.
It kind of gives you a first-hand insight onto what some of these performance shops put up with.
Oh, yeah.
Because basically, if you think about it, you were running the shop.
Yeah.
And Adam was doing the work, and I was just on the phone every now and then. But in parts availability, not performance parts. I mean, Billy was pretty well on it with that.
No, yeah.
It's very, and even with my build, it kind of gave me a peek like, damn.
Well,
a lot of stuff goes, like you had, what was the first problem we ran into with yours? Not having it.
Oh, well, we had some issues. I don't want to speak on some of it because some of it was due to health issues of people involved with the build.
Right. But I mean, like, so you got some motor mounts.
Right.
They didn't have bolts.
Right, yeah.
You don't expect to run into that. It pops up.
Yep.
Find some bolts.
Right.
The small stuff, when you're trying to do something like this, adds up and stresses you out.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that was an extra trip to Clio Chrysler.
Right.
To grab a bolt.
I'd have stuck a grade 8 in it, but.
Yeah.
And then there were some other problems, but. Then we ran into a starter issue.
Yeah,
find a starter for that thing. Holy shit!
Yeah, there was 2 starters in the state.
Yeah,
that I could get to, and this was Monday. 2 starters in the state that I could get to Monday. One was at the AutoZone hub in Livonia, and the other one was at a junkyard in Lansing, which thankfully is within 45 minutes of Adam.
Right.
So, and he was able to get there before they closed, and he got that, and that's now what's starting my car now. But just parts availability for Hemi stuff is just outrageous.
Yeah, it's hard to find, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, it's hard to find in a hurry.
Yeah.
You can find it. For instance, my pinion bearing, that bitch came all the way from Germany.
Wow.
So there's no hurry. I mean, I could have hurried it, but I wasn't paying overnight for overseas. Screw that.
How much was that? Let's just...
All in all, now, okay, so let me talk about my parts, guys, for a minute. Called down, I talked to Eddie at Southern Hot Rod because he's my go-to guy on parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get that. And he had it ordered, and it was seriously here from Germany in like a week and a half.
Which is pretty good.
Right. So, and then I got lucky with WaveTrack diff. The guys at WaveTrack were like, yeah, just send it out here. We'll inspect it. Because I told them, I was like, this is what happened. I don't want to put it together without opening it up and inspecting it. And they're like, yeah, send it out here. You only have to pay shipping. If we get it and it's broke, we'll fix it free of charge and ship it back on us.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing is wrong with it, you pay return shipping.
Right.
Can't pass that up. Shipped it out there. They call me, Mr. McMahon, how much horsepower did you say you were making? I told him, I was like, it was probably 600 for a couple years. And
no,
I told him about what it was now. And this isn't going to work. We're going to ship you an upgraded differential. And all of a sudden, I just started seeing zeros and dollar signs in my, and I'm like, okay, how much will that be? Free of charge. What?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
But all in all, rebuilding the whole entire diff, because I had my factory 306 here, which I put back in it, cost me $230 and some time.
Yeah, that's
not bad.
No.
Could have been way worse.
Yeah.
But
that's amazing.
So that's my little spot for WaveTrack. I'm a customer for life.
Yeah.
If anybody asks me what differential unit I recommend, you're dumb if you don't go with WaveTrack. Because when I called them, I told them I didn't have any of my warranty papers. Mm-hmm. And they said, oh, as long as it has our stamp on the unit, it's covered. Period.
Wow.
And I was like, even if I sold it to my buddy? Yep. Covered, period. Like, you talk about a company that gets behind their shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think Quaife or however you pronounce it, they don't do that.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So you got through the parts availability.
Yep. And it's now together, and we got a startup tune on it. And this was Monday night. I picked it up from work. After work, I took the trailer and went to Adam's house to pick it up Monday after work, and was gonna take it to the muffler shop for Tuesday, yesterday, and it was going to the dyno today. Then I have to work tomorrow and the next day. I actually skipped out on overtime today to do the dyno.
Yeah.
I had to beg a guy on my shift to take my overtime for me. I mean, how often do I do that?
Right.
But
especially after paying for a build.
Right, yeah. So I was spending money today, and I lost out on income. So
it was an expensive day.
Yes, very much so. And I had to work after work tomorrow and the next day, and we were going to go racing Saturday for the Michigan Mopar at Milan. But didn't quite work out that way.
It was, there's one thing that I've learned that we do, and we need to get away from doing, is urgency and rushing to make an event.
Yeah.
I feel like when I was under the gun to make it a streetcar takeover, nothing went right.
No.
And the minute I decided, I remember telling Jeanette, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. If it doesn't make it a streetcar takeover, it don't make it.
Right.
Then it all worked.
Right.
It all just fell together. There wasn't stress. It just fell together.
Yeah.
Not saying that we're stressing over making it to the Mopar event. I was, because I have obligations for events.
Yeah.
And that was one of them.
Yeah.
And, I mean, luckily.
And I sort of do too now,
Right.
And, I really wanted to go to this. I wanted to go to Street Racing Made Safe last week.
Yeah.
But that didn't work out.
That was stuff totally out of your control. If some of those things didn't happen,
right.
Which, thank God everybody involved is okay.
Yeah.
You would have made it there.
Yeah. But, or maybe not. I mean,
maybe not with the issues that popped up. But
yeah.
I feel like the rush and urgency idea isn't working.
No.
In fact, I was telling Billy that the other day. I'm like, the rush and urgency is getting us nowhere.
Right.
We've tried and changed just about everything in our game plan aside from that.
Right.
So, let's back it down a minute. And he agreed. And I think basically the same thing kind of.
Everybody wants to make it to events.
Right.
And especially at this time of year. I mean, there's events all the time.
Well, it is race car time.
Well, yeah, and I only have so many summer Saturdays off.
Yeah.
And so of course there's going to be some urgency, but I know, like you say, you try to keep that under control.
Yeah. So, kind of I won't share what happened today. If you want to, we'll maybe get into that in a minute with the dyno.
Yeah.
But I feel like the stress would have been a little less last night and this morning if there wasn't the timeline of being to the dyno at 9:30. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it would have been a little bit more like...
Yeah, we were supposed to record this last night, but
yeah,
race car took priority.
Which, and thank goodness that some of the, I guess you could call them sponsors, just because I can't think of a better name.
Well, yeah, that's what they are.
Like, thank God Billy is not like, hey, motherfucker, you said you'd be to X, Y, and Z, and you ain't making it.
Right.
But he gets it because he don't want me to go out there and look like a fool.
No.
I know there's listeners that'll think different about me being a fool, but and I'm certain Detroit Muscle, which is a substantially bigger company, doesn't want anything, and
what they want from me is effort.
Yeah.
And results vary. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
that's just, like Billy said. He's like, Billy's exact words were reasonable amount.
Right.
So making it to more than a couple this year is not reasonable. Like, we're looking at maybe only making 3 more big events.
Right.
As far as the bully's concerned.
Right.
And
you didn't count on some of this stuff.
I didn't count on 3 weeks worth of chasing fuel issues. It was dumping fuel. I didn't count on being down for a month because a diff blew out. I didn't count on the axle breaking.
Right.
But
so race car and things happen.
I mean, and it's cool that they're cool with that.
Yeah.
Because the last thing I or you want to do is hey, I'm really sorry.
Right.
And explain the whole thing. Saying sorry is one thing. I am really sorry I'm not making it to what I said I would.
Right.
But having to explain it and have somebody be upset at you while you're explaining it is not cool.
No, that sucks for everybody. I mean, it sucks that they're upset. It sucks that you're upset.
But Team Bully will do its best to get out there with the car.
Yeah.
Big D and J-Rowdie show will do its best to do its Detroit Muscle thing.
Right.
Big D will do his best for the Detroit Muscle thing.
Yeah.
And, next year I have way higher expectations about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Next year. Because I'm not going to have downtime. I don't plan on having downtime next year. I was down this year scrambling to throw the motor in.
Right.
This year, this next season, if anything happens, it's going to be a bigger blower and an intercooler.
Right.
Which isn't going to be anywhere near putting a motor in it.
No.
Or the roll bar. Last year, I missed some shit because of the roll bar.
Or building the entire top end on my car.
Right, exactly. It'll be shit ready to go.
So, yeah.
Maybe we put a roll bar in your car next year. Just throwing it out there.
If it goes a number, I might have to.
I just think you should do it anyway. I'm putting a parachute on mine just regardless.
So, we were here last night. We picked it up from the exhaust shop. It sounds amazing.
It is loud as fuck.
It is. It is. I have cutouts for it. I'm probably going to send them back.
I just wouldn't do it because them bastards... Now, I don't like cutouts because I had them. They were cool. Back in the day when they were cool, right? And on turbo cars, they make a lot of sense on a turbo car.
Yeah.
But, I know mine rattled,
Yeah, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, you weren't cool. You weren't one of the cool kids if you didn't have cutouts. And that ship has, sailed. But up until, yesterday, I didn't think I got over it, but I might be able to deal with...
Because, let's I like a note. I
Yeah.
like an exhaust note. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And and you like loud.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That is freaking Sabrina starts nagging. Turn that shit on, you'll never hear.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
I love you, Sabrina, but
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
It is like you can't even hear yourself think.
And that's like why I liked the cutout so much is before, like you could hear my car lope so much better with the cutouts open.
Yeah.
And like that was kind of what it was about for me. But holy crap, dude! Like through the mufflers, the whole neighborhood can hear the car lope.
Yeah. Yeah, you can definitely hear it now and see it.
Yeah. With the solid motor mounts, it shakes the entire car.
Yeah. And it was like I said, it's too loud to listen to yourself think. It's almost, and I don't like mine when I went from the 6.1 to what it is now.
Yeah.
To me it sounded louder, but it's not. There's a pop from the compression.
Yeah.
And it's deeper.
Yeah.
From the cubic inch, but it's not louder. But it almost makes it in my car, which is substantially quieter than your car.
Yeah.
Makes it hard for me to hear engine noise, which drives me nuts. Like if I want to hear a tick or I want to.
Right.
But unfortunately, you can't make power unless you have like an electric motor or something.
Right.
And be able to hear motor.
Right.
There's a byproduct of loud.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No. We went to long tubes this year.
Yeah.
Went to 3-inch exhaust from 2.5. I mean, it's making a butt ton more power. So,
We didn't even mention along the buildway all of the bullshit that had to be fixed.
Yeah.
Don't want to spend too much time on it, but I would say Adam spent half of his time.
Yeah.
Fixing shit that should have been done already. Like stuff that shouldn't have had to be fixed.
Right.
So.
Yeah, Adam really kind of saved my car.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I feel like I would have picked up on some of those things, but like some of the wearing issues and stuff that he found.
Yeah. Well, didn't you have it in and out of shops for wiring issues or running issues, like drivability issues or something? Yeah. So even then, the window-licking fucktard that messed it up in the first place.
Yeah.
Then a couple shops, right?
Yeah.
Missed it too.
Yeah.
Then you take it to Shade Tree Adam.
Yeah.
Who's
a pro, but not
right. But he don't work at no shop.
Right. No.
Well, not a auto shop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He knows his shit.
Adam's a truck and equipment mechanic who likes to play with race cars.
Right. You take it to his one-car garage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And he has it for
3 weeks.
Probably would have only been about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If we didn't run into and he finds all these issues and then fixes it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'm not sure how much of the story we've shared before, but I won't keep it very long-winded. But I met Adam in 3rd grade. I moved to the other side, moved down the road, and rode a different bus, and that was his bus, and we've been friends since we were like 9.
Mm-hmm.
So I trust him with everything. I mean, you and him are my best friends.
Yeah.
So I have no qualms about saying my best friend built me a motor.
Mm-hmm.
So he, but along with that, he cares. He gave a crap.
Yeah. You can't exactly put a price tag on that.
No, you cannot buy a man's loyalty. So
going big chief on me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's true.
Right, it is. He did do a lot of just little stuff.
That stuff he didn't have to do.
Yep.
I paid him, but that's just taking care of your buddy.
Right.
Like your time is worth something too.
Yep.
I'm at work working overtime. You're working on my car. Here's some money.
Right. The only time I would not accept payment from a friend is if they were there with me. If you were like, hey, I'm going to come over and we'll do a cam swap. And I'm like, yeah, come over and do a cam swap. I'm not going to be like, hey, pay up.
Right.
You know, but
that's what I mean. Like, I dropped the car off at his house.
He left it. And he put it back together and made
everything so much better.
Way better. So, with some of the pictures. Now, some of it might not have been window licking fucktard's fault. Yeah. Like the double roller hitting the timing cover. I don't know that he would have known that.
No.
The shop that sold you that should have said something.
Right.
But
they're no longer in business, so.
Well, there's probably a reason.
Right.
So okay, so let's get back on track. You got it on the. I totally forgot where we're at. I've had a couple pops already. Pops is code for beer.
Yeah.
So we got it over here last night.
Yep.
And we ran it.
Yep. And we said it was loud and everything. That's where we were.
Yeah.
It wasn't. We were having trouble getting it to recognize throttle input because it's drive-by-wire.
Right.
And it just wouldn't go without two-footing it. So we were trying to figure that out. It's got the larger throttle body on it, which is an aftermarket part. You never know.
Yep.
So we pulled the stock throttle body off of your car and put it onto mine. That's, plus one for having friends with the same car.
The hardest part of that was the hairspray.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, for those of you that remember, I kept on having boost leaks and hoses pop off. I used freaking Aquanet on all that shit, and it was stuck. Like, stuck. Yeah. We got that was seriously the hardest part of the whole deal.
Yeah.
We got that out.
15 minutes swapping out throttle bodies, and it was doing the same thing. So like, well, it's not the aftermarket throttle body, so we eliminated that.
Yep.
And as you would expect, it had some codes from.
There was a laundry list of codes when we first pulled them.
Yeah.
Now I didn't pay much of attention to those codes because, it was started up at Adam's house with no exhaust on it.
Right.
So there were some O2 codes on there, which you totally are expecting with open headers.
Sure.
To have O2 codes. There was a crankshaft code on there.
Yeah, but we had it all torn apart.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
So we just cleared it.
Yeah.
And the only one that came back quickly was a throttle body code.
Right.
So we swapped everything. You drove it around. The first time you drove it around the block.
Yeah.
With the 90 millimeter on there.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here. I can hear him go through my whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it's dark. Kids are in bed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's getting late.
And
not super late, like after midnight, but it's getting late.
And you're going down the road. And I'm like, what in the hell? Like, what is going on? So you come back and I'm, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, is that you doing that or what the hell? And I had to put my foot on the brake and give it gas to go. And when I let off the brake, it died. It would want to die out.
Yeah. Literally 2-footing it around the neighborhood.
Just to get some sort of log to send to Billy because, let's throw like 8:30, 9 o'clock at it.
Yeah.
By the time we're doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And dyno time is in T-minus 12 and a half hours.
Right.
And, you can't.
Yeah, I remember looking at you and saying, I need to be on a dyno in 12 hours.
Yeah. So you can't rightly put a car on the dyno with all those issues.
Right.
And expect to get anywhere with it. So we put the podcast on hold.
Yeah.
To race car, which any one of our listeners would do.
Yes.
And we got absolutely nowhere.
Right.
Other than learning it wasn't the throttle body.
Yeah.
Which I guess if you're...
it's a step in the right direction.
Right. I guess if you're a girl half naked kind of guy, that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
If you're a girl half clothed, then, it's whatever.
Right.
So...
Yeah. So it was getting late and I had to turn around and go home and try to get some sleep.
Right.
So...
I actually had, anxiety attacks last night. is the only way I can describe it, because I couldn't sleep for shit. And I have this, I have a Diablo Sport Trinity in my possession.
Yeah.
That is not mine.
Right.
And it's Billy's, and he has all kinds of shit set up on it for his business.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
Yeah.
So it's gone, and I don't have a way to log my car because my piece of shit computer isn't communicating to dick. And my buddy Dustin just left out of here with a half-ass running car to go to the dyno. And,
right.
I honestly was either I had too much caffeine, which wasn't the case because I was drinking pops that night, and my heart was racing. I remember laying there in bed thinking son of a bitch, this is going to explode.
Right. This is going to be bad.
I couldn't sleep for shit. And then I'm certain that you probably had trouble too. So you woke up.
I went home and I had stuff to do for Detroit Muscle.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to bed at I'm getting boring here, but I went to bed at 1:30 and I had gotten up at 3:30 to go to work that day. So when I did go to bed, I gotta be honest, it lights out.
So you woke up this morning.
Yeah.
And in the back of your head, you knew that there was at least a throttle body issue.
Yes.
But we're going to send it.
Yep.
And we're not going to worry. The throttle body issue might have something to do with the drivability, too.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Most of the people listening know that watt is watt, drivability is drivability. As soon as that thing hits watt, it's going to throw out a bunch of information that it's not even going to pay attention to.
Right.
So maybe the mindset is maybe the throttle body code isn't going to matter.
Right.
So you're on your way down there.
Yeah.
You don't tell any of your buddies you're on your way down there, by the way.
It was 6 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, I was supposed to be at work.
Right. So, yeah, I left at 7 something. I had to be there at 9. And the truck's low on fuel. I haven't ate yet. And
it's the way it usually goes.
Yeah. So I got fuel at Speedway and grabbed some stuff to eat and barely made it there on time. And get there and Rich, the guy that runs the dyno at Billy Briggs, met me out in the parking lot.
Oh, so you went to Billy Briggs?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he told me where to park, and I said, after I get my ramps and get unstrapped and my ramps out and everything, can you guide me off the trailer? And sure, no problem. And guided me off the trailer, guided me on the dyno. He strapped everything down. I'm freaking out, losing my mind.
I really am sad that I couldn't. I would have burned a personal day.
Yeah.
But, as some listeners may know, I'm getting married, so I kind of have everything scheduled.
Yeah.
Now, if I would get off my ass and do something at work, I could get bonus personal days by being badass. But I don't.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go. I would have loved to have been there. Because I'm sure you were like, well, shit.
And Adam just started his job this year.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have any vacation time yet either.
Not this year, this quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only been here 3 months, 4 months maybe. Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So I would have been freaking out too, because when I only had my car in a dyno twice.
Right.
One came only and one down at Southern Hot Rod.
Right.
And I was entertained at Southern Hot Rod, so I didn't pay any attention to it.
Right.
And I didn't have to do anything when it was on the dyno at Stenod Performance.
Right.
I just had to show up and take videos of it. And I was freaking out.
Right.
So I could just imagine, because now you're renting it, you're there.
Right.
You're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
They're not going to make polls for you.
No.
I mean, maybe on an off chance they get in it and they do the watt poll,
But, yeah.
But
that's kind of what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought, all right, I'm in the passenger seat, hold the laptop.
Yeah.
And this guy is going to do the watt pulls. No. He's standing at the computer, like, workstation.
Yeah.
And I'm running a laptop, and I'm in the driver's seat, getting it into fourth gear.
Oh, you did a fourth?
And doing the pulls.
Okay.
So, it's my first time ever having a car on a dyno, and I'm, it's me, myself, and I down there.
Yep.
And it was an experience, for sure.
Now, I have done a fair amount of logging, so I would be a little bit more comfortable in that situation.
Well, so have I at this point. I mean, I've tuned my car 4 or 5 times now.
But the fact is that you're in and Billy Briggs' shop is like, that's a shop, dude.
Yeah.
You're in somebody's like crazy ass shop.
Yeah.
On their dyno, and what do I do?
It's me. Like I say, it's me, and I got Billy on the phone.
Yeah.
And this rich guy was actually super helpful. He made it as comfortable as he could.
Yeah.
And was fairly reassuring and gave me little tips here and there. Do this, do that. But fact of the matter is, it was me and Billy.
Yeah, and Billy is, hours away.
Right. Yeah, Billy's
in
on
Indiana,
the bottom of Indiana.
Yeah, the bottom. I drove there. It is the fucking bottom.
Yeah.
Of Indiana. You're closer to Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah. But so, we made it through that. I got, I've done quite a bit of stuff in my lifetime by myself.
Yeah.
I was a truck driver for a couple of years, so I take myself out to dinner. I'll go to freaking movies by myself. I'll do all kinds of weird stuff by myself.
Gee, you're nervous as fuck on the dyno by yourself.
Yes, I do. But, yeah, that's just to say, like, I'm used to being by myself, but I still got nervous as hell today. But we just had issues with the codes. Like, we finally figured out that ABS code. It was a fuse.
Now, it may be kind of late to say it, but had I known about that, I probably, before the issue, I probably would have suggested the fuse.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
Right.
But it was a wheel speed sensor code, right? Kinda?
It was an ABS code. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was the wheel speed sensor was what was causing the issue with the throttle.
Okay.
So it was all kind of interconnected.
So you could, which would explain why you were going fucking nuts in my neighborhood last night.
Yeah.
You could give it gas if the brake was pushed in.
Right.
So let off the brake, it dies. Is it probably going into limp mode or something similar?
Right.
Because something's fucked up with the wheel speed sensor, the computer thinks, or whatever.
Yeah.
So you guys got that figured out. Then you could actually get on it without your foot on the brake.
Right.
Thank God.
Right. Yeah, so I was like, whoa, this is a start at least.
Right.
And then we were trying to figure out the other codes, and it was the code for the crankshaft position sensor was crankshaft, camshaft correlation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was P0016 if you're a nerd and want to check that out.
You know what? Here. If you're a listener and you want to look that up and then maybe share a link on the Big D and J-Rowdie Show Facebook page with the diagnostic trouble code flowchart, that would be fucking amazing.
Yes, it would.
Just share away.
But, so, we're just like, well, we're here and we're doing this and it's kind of a one-shot deal. So I decided, well, let's just change the crankshaft sensor and just give it a shot, and see what happens. And they had one at AutoZone. It was $16. AutoZone was like 2 miles away. So I went and got it, and mind you, I'm in the Billy Briggs shop using somebody else's tools.
Yeah.
And I'm here wrenching on my car. It's sitting on their dyno. And I'm paying for the time while the car's sitting on the dyno.
Right.
And I mean, it was a grand total of 4 bolts to get to this crankshaft sensor. And, I got it in and out fairly easily. But it was just like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And cleared the code, fired the car up. Seemed like everything was freaking golden. Like, awesome. And we went and we made a pull. And it made a pull all the way to 6,400 RPMs in fourth. I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. We're going to leave out of here tuned today.
Right.
Which, and it made 402 with a bunch of timing pulled.
Yeah, it was a bunch. I know.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a bunch enough to make probably 20.
Yeah.
25 more horsepower.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, if you go any lower, you're going to burn exhaust valves.
Right.
Low timing. So, that's good. I mean, that's good numbers.
Right. So we got that, and I thought everything was good, and then the check engine light came back on, and it was the same code. So we said, well, we did one, let's do the other one. And went back to AutoZone, bought a camshaft sensor.
Is that Saab?
Yes.
Saab! Podcasting.
Bought a camshaft sensor and changed that out, and it worked for half a pull because I wasn't able to get a data log. Of course, I couldn't get a data log of the one pull it actually made my Predator messed up, and I think the cord pulled out somehow.
So the full pull to 6,400, you didn't get a log?
No log for that. Isn't that awesome? Story of my life.
Just let me say something about the technology we're working with.
Yeah.
Diablo Sport was, for a while, the only people that made anything for the Hemis.
Yeah. They've been the first to crack the tuning codes of all the new Hemi stuff.
So, kudos on that.
Yeah.
There is far better technology from Diablo Sport than what we have now.
Yeah. We have the original Predator.
Right.
There's now a new model out.
And the Trinity is fucking
amazing.
It's great. But the rigmarole you go through to hook that motherfucker up to log, I mean...
It's a job.
You got your laptop. In your case, you have power cord for your laptop. Yeah. You have to hook up to OBD2.
Yeah.
Then you have to hook the Predator or Trinity up to your laptop.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like...
It's a job.
HP tuners, there's a fucking box on a cord.
Yeah.
You plug the cord into your laptop.
Yeah.
Come on, Diablo.
Right.
Like, there's got to be fucking make Predator software go in a PC.
Right.
I mean, if you got enough know-how to put Predator software on a monochrome 4-button piece of blue plastic.
Yeah.
Which is what the Predator is.
Sure.
You could definitely put a software package together.
Right.
But anyways, that's my little vent now. Because I'm dealing with some shit.
Yeah.
And logging with my car, too.
It's, like I said, it's a job. And I've done it enough. I'm comfortable to say. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's still a pain. So, like, God forbid somebody come new into this crap and like, oh, I'm going to buy this used Predator and for dirt cheap and everything's going to be awesome. Like,
yeah.
No.
Maybe if you stick with 93 octane cold air intake.
Right. Yeah.
If
that's all you're looking for.
Which it's all you ever are really looking for at that time.
Right. Yeah.
But, and you know what? Maybe Diablo Sport is in the business of selling tuners. Period. You know, like,
right.
that's why they make a tuner instead of a software.
Right.
Maybe that's what they do. And if that's their business model,
Fantastic.
cool. Whatever. It's working,
Yeah.
obviously. So, no log on that.
Yeah. Doesn't that suck?
Man. Yeah, because it was lean, that pole.
Yeah.
We, when I say we, I mean...
Well, you're involved in this deal, too.
We needed to see where the fueling tables were at, especially if it was that lean.
Right.
Like, that is kind of important.
Yeah.
So
it went lean the first time. Billy made an adjustment based on the AFR
that he saw in the graph.
Yeah. And I got it to work a second time, and it went really fat. Like, even I saw it and went, whoa. Like, it went down into, like, 9.
Yeah.
And you could tell the car was running like crap.
Yeah, you'll start washing cylinders.
Yeah. So I got right out of it there. I didn't even make it past, like, 4,000, I bet.
Which, at fourth gear in our cars is 1-to-1.
Yeah.
So it took you a minute.
Yeah.
You were rich for a while.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when I log my car, I'll see it go lean, but I'll stay in it a half a second more to see if it drops back down.
Right.
But
I mean, you got to remember, it's my first time.
Right. And also,
yeah, and
you know, what if you stayed in it longer and it just kept fat?
Right.
You know, like, dude, that would have sucked.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm watching my laptop and I just get overwhelmed with that stuff. I don't know.
Right. My advice for logging on the dyno is watch your tack until you get to wherever the tuner wants you to go from.
Yeah.
In my case, it's $3,000.
Right.
So I'll watch the tack until I get to $3,000. Now, when I'm on the road, when I'm on a closed course in Mexico, I have a lot more to pay attention to.
Yeah.
But on a dyno, I would look at the tack, I'd put it at 2,500, $3,000, wherever.
Yeah.
And then I would not even pay attention to that. I would fixate on the AFR, not worry about my laptop after I hit record, and I would mat that bitch and just stare at it until I heard the car shift.
Right.
Because that is did your AFR gauge work?
No, it was
so they pulled yours off.
They pulled my wideband
put theirs in.
And put theirs in.
So,
and I just was doing what I was doing, and I happened to look at I didn't stare at it, my fault, but
right.
I was trying to get it into the right gear and, like you say, watch the RPM and get into it, and then
right. So my next question is, the fuck was he doing?
I don't know.
Not saying it's his responsibility, but if he's standing in front of the computer workstation and someone's about ready to melt their shit down on your dyno, and you might want to turn around and be like, hey, you know? Like, people can see what I'm doing. I actually physically turned. Yeah. But, like, hey, buddy, you better not do that anymore. Right. Or, hey, you're really rich. Why don't we stop and we'll get somebody to make a change?
Right, and once I heard the car running bad and saw that and got out of it or whatever, but I tell you what, you can think you're a badass and you can think you know everything, but until you get in that situation, you need to reserve your judgment, because a lot of people would have done just as bad as me or worse.
Right. Yep. I mean, if it was your shop, your dyno, your tools, not very stressful.
Right.
Just being somewhere else with the clock ticking.
Yeah.
Just with the clock ticking, period.
The entire time, just tick, 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 tick.
That was
what I felt the entire time.
Instead of it didn't tick, it was actually ching, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching,
yeah,
cha-ching.
Pretty much.
And lesson learned in that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we'll be a lot better next time.
Adam, we're podcasting. Shit. Justin, you should have turned your phone off.
Well, mine was on too.
So we learned quite a bit with your car in this experience. We also, your car is not, it's not all one thing. As far like it's an 07 with, it's an 07 5.7.
Yeah.
With a 6.1 out of a Jeep.
Yes.
Swapped into it.
Yes.
So it's not a 6.1 out of a Charger.
No.
6.1 out of a Jeep. There's a little bit of differences.
Yeah.
Not too much.
Right.
We found out the starter is a big difference.
Yeah. Right.
Like a big difference.
Yeah.
And also, because I couldn't sleep last night because of all my anxiety, I did some research, and 06 SRT 6.1 calibrations are different than that of 07 SRT 6.1 calibrations in the fact that it tells the computer gets told that the injectors are smaller. I don't know what that means in the tuning world.
Right, or why.
Yeah, but telling it one thing and them actually physically being I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe a listener is hip and no comment. But so there's a lot of moving pieces, if you will, that have to work together.
Well, sure.
I mean, now throw a 5.7 in that bitch with the 5.7 cal, probably a little bit easier.
I'm sure.
You know, but you got kind of a back alley deal on the motor.
I never intended on it being a back alley deal. Just kind of ended up that way.
Like, I picture it like these guys coming up to you and they're like, hey, I say, like, we found this motor just sitting on the side of the road out of an SRT8 Jeep, eh? And you were just like, I'll buy it. Type deal. Or, you know?
Yeah.
I don't... it was kind of different.
Yeah, like it was for sale in Chicago. I had this certain weekend off. I was like, okay, I'm gonna drive out there and I'm gonna buy your motor.
Let me show up to your chop shop. I'm gonna buy this motor.
And the guy's like, oh, family emergency. And you know, I don't know if I told the complete story before, but we're not going to go over all that. But the guy said, like, oh, family emergency, can't do it this weekend. I'm like, all right, well, I'm out. Like,
yeah.
The next weekend I have off, I'm on call. I can't go to effing Chicago. So he's like, well, what if I deliver it to you? Like, this guy, like, really wanted to give away this motor, so... Like a random Wednesday at like midnight, these two guys show up in like a Rent-A-Center truck and drop off his motor. And I'm like, okay.
So
I didn't intend on it being a back alley deal.
Allegedly,
yeah,
it was a back alley deal. We have to say that because cops listen.
Alleged, yeah.
They're gonna freaking come yank the motor out of the instigator and look for the serial numbers.
Yeah. Oh, man. But, yeah, so, I mean, it's got a Jeep motor, a Charger trans, and a Challenger rear end.
Yep. So, and they're all different years.
Yeah.
What year is the motor?
Well, the motor is the same as an 07.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
the rear end's like 09.
Yeah, 09 and up.
It's an 07 car.
Yeah.
It's a 5.7 computer with a 6.1 motor.
Yeah.
It's quite the definition of hot rodding. Because back in the day, this is what hot rodding was.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, you were swapping parts from cars when you were hot rodding. Like, before we were even thought of.
Yeah.
You know, back in actual hot rod days.
Yeah.
So, which is, I mean, kind of cool.
Right.
Kind of makes things hard.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it's definitely kind of I hate, it's kind of overused, but it's kind of like a Frankenstein kind of deal.
yeah.
But it was the best of what was available at the time.
And in hindsight, we could have built that 5.7 into a 390 after, excuse me, I burped. After window licking fucktard mess with the car.
Yeah.
We could have built a 392 out of the 5.7.
Yeah.
And been
further ahead.
But hindsight is 50-50. 2020.
Yeah.
But
so, I guess the ultimate deal is that it's at least on the way to being done.
And we've come a long way.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to have to drive my car places.
Yeah.
And could you imagine if I drove it to the racetrack and broke?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah.
We may not be as street.
No.
As we once were.
No.
But then again, the streets aren't as street as we. But.
Dude, we are street. We forgot to mention that I left my son's 3rd birthday party with you and Adam. So Adam
made
could do a test it at the spot in Mexico. Allegedly.
Yeah, dude, you can just straight up say that's out there in BFE. And what was so funny was
professional driver on a closed course.
There was absolutely no traffic that day.
No.
Until he came back to get us.
Right.
Like then the whole fucking town decided to come to that corner.
Right.
I don't. But so, I'm just saying the cars have evolved.
Yes.
And
so have we.
Right. It's pretty cool to put your shit on a trailer.
Yeah.
And have it all be yours.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, last year at this time I borrowed a trailer and felt cool.
Dude, there was times where I was like, well, I guess I just won't eat today.
Right.
Because I have bills to pay that weren't race car.
Right.
But I was like, those of you that don't know, I was divorced and I kept everything.
Yeah.
Not because...
Which was amazing.
Dude, holy cow. You can't keep a good rowdy down, right?
No.
Like, I kept it mostly because I didn't want to sell it and let her have any of the money.
Right.
So, yeah, I put myself in the hard position.
Yeah.
But I wanted to keep the house.
Yep.
I'd be damned if somebody else gets my fucking car. They'd have been trying to autocross that shit by now. and like, I wanted to keep everything. And did you just catch that?
Yes, I did.
That motherfucker would have been like, would autocross the SRT. The fuck does that? Anyways.
Wow, okay. Moving on.
I managed to keep all that shit. And now, son of a bitch, I ain't trying to brag, but I got my own car trailer.
Yep.
I got my own truck to pull that shit. And if it ever makes it down the track, that is a bad bitch.
Yeah.
And I managed to keep my head above water for it all. So people can say I'm not street all they want.
Right.
Like, I am fine with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine with it.
We've come a long way. Like we talked about the time we went to Lapeer and it was butt cold outside.
It was ridiculous.
And we were chilling in my $800 piece of crap Neon, but just thankful that it had heat.
Right. Now you drive a distance for work.
Yeah.
So you basically live in that car when you work.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, dude, we were piled in that little thing. I mean, I'm 6'1".
Yeah.
You know, you're a tall guy yourself.
Yeah.
In a little fucking Neon.
Yeah.
In the dirt pits, wet dirt pits.
Yeah.
At Lapeer.
Right.
Watching our buddy Zach make some passes, trying to get him to beat my time for cam only in the group.
Yeah.
And we were seriously excited for, I mean, not not taking anything away from the number.
Right.
But at that point, we were pumped to see a 1230 come across the board.
Right.
If I see a 1230 come across the board with my car now,
right,
I am breaking shit. Not because my car broke shit, because I am pissed.
Right.
Like, we just kind of evolved and moved past that. Like,
right.
I mean,
I feel like if I saw that time in the heat,
yeah,
I'd probably be all right with it.
I mean, this was like negative 800, negative 700 DA.
If I see that time at Hemi Insanity, I think I'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's going to be fucking nasty weather.
Yeah.
Like, nasty drag racing weather. It'd be beautiful. It could be a beautiful day.
Right.
You know, those that listen that aren't into racing, 100%, beautiful days are horrible days to be at the track.
Right.
If you're going to get a sunburn at the track and sweat, it's a bad day to be racing.
Right.
But now we got sunburn at Streetcar Takeover, and it was cold.
Right.
We weren't sweating. So both A and B have to happen for it to suck.
Right.
And Hemi Insanity is Dream Cruise Week.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, August is hot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I'd be thrilled with that.
At
Hemi Insanity. But.
You know what? I'll be thrilled if the motherfucker goes A to B. If the bully goes from here to there and doesn't break.
Yeah.
I don't care if it goes 11 seconds. Motherfucker, just get me down the track.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's a pretty big event that we had high expectations for last year that actually we would have kicked ass at last year.
Yeah.
If I had a driver mod. And, you know, I went pretty far in the bracket class.
Right.
But, dude, I qualified first in my class.
Yeah.
That should have correlated to, if Justin could drive for DAM, at least a podium finish.
Right.
But
finishing the money anyway.
You know, and I would be kind of, I'm excited to go do it with this setup. I'm not excited with the company that I'll be in because as you go faster, you run out of rookie people to race.
Right.
So, where the car has been running, I'll be in the modified class, which is one of the biggest classes.
Right.
As far as car turnouts go.
Yeah.
Not to mention, every one of them motherfuckers have been racing for years.
Yeah.
Like, and not just like I've been racing for years. Like, they've been racing competitively for years, often, weekend in and weekend out.
Against the same guys over and over and over again.
And here I am, like, hey, guys, like, bring my own, like, bat and ball and be like, I want to play, you know, like.
Yeah.
So, do I think my abilities or my car are going to limit me? Probably my abilities and lack of experience with a pro tree.
Right.
Put me on a sportsman tree, I could probably hold my own because I've gotten really good.
Hey, I've got that dude that's in the street class cleaning a house.
Yeah. Well, double ball them.
Like, run right up there. Can you do that as an event sponsor?
You didn't hit the brakes fast enough. Fuck that. If they're not letting you do, if you feel bad about doing that as an event sponsor, I will drive your car and I will burn out up to the damn light and then put it in the beams. Like,
that's funny.
And you know what? To the point of being double balled on, why don't you roll in faster? If he broke beam 1, beam 2, and kept going until beam 1 went out, the light ain't going to start yet.
Right.
Like, if you just keep on rolling and don't stop until first light goes out, you're fine.
Right.
You know? Because you're street class. You don't need to get up on the two-step. You don't need to, you know, like, you don't even have a two-step in the street class, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's the same guy, but I feel like it is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, anyways, kind of graduated in, you ever seen that video that I think the .net boys put out of classes of street racers and then you get up to the top and you're badass? Yeah. That's like the super pro guys.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the pro guys, and I fall in the modified class, which is, I forget what they correlated it to, but basically,
it gets more and more serious
right.
the faster and faster you
basically, I fall into the category of guys that were too stupid to enjoy where they were at going high tens and put more money into their car, and now they go low tens.
Right.
Even if it ran its worst time that it has with the new setup, I would still be in the modified class.
Yeah.
Only 2/10 off the index of the modified class.
Right.
Not bad.
Right.
But I'm going to give up probably 4/10 at the light.
Yeah.
So I pretty much need to be at the very top of my game.
Right. I feel like I'm going to be right there with the index. Like I said, with the heat, everything else. I can throw some weight in it and go 1250s.
Yeah.
Not saying that like at the end of the year when it's good air and everything, I'm not gonna rip some stuff out of it and see what she'll go.
In my mind, on a normal summer day, so 75, 78, I don't see why you couldn't go 12 flat. Give or take a tenth each way, 11.9 to 12.1.
Okay.
I don't. If you make the power that one made,
right.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
With that gear, because the short time is going to be with the gear. If the stall stalls,
yeah,
and the gear with the 391 gear, your short time should be absolutely nuts. You're going to run out of steam the big end of the track.
Yeah.
But barring anything crazy happening between the 8th and the quarter, everything you gain on the 8th should carry through.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know, it sounds cool and it's going to be a ball of fun on the street.
Yeah.
So I'm going to scare the crap out of people on the street. So, you know what I mean? That's the most important thing to me. But
I find myself getting caught up in a number too much, and I need to get away from that.
Yeah. Numbers are nice, but at the end of the day,
yeah,
man, just thinking back about where we've come from to where we are, it's crazy.
Yeah. I remember my first time down the track in the Charger. I did a burnout in reverse on street tires and went 13.1 and was like, I seriously had to piss like 6 times in the staging lane.
Yeah.
I still get nervous now because I'm not going to lie. Call me names if you want. My car scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like,
I had that talk with Adam the other day. Like, the thing I love to do most in this world scares the ever-loving crap out of me.
I mean, you can say that I only go this fast, but the car is way faster than what we've seen on time slips.
Yeah.
And, it's scary. And it's in stages. So, like, the 13.1s I was scared with for a while. Then I got comfortable.
Yeah.
Then the cam-only times were a little bit like, I remember the first time down the track with sticky tires on my cam, I seriously sat in the car and go, whoa. Because it left good and was pulling. I'm like, sweet. And that was a little bit of an adrenaline rush for a while.
Right.
Then it became normal.
Yeah.
And then when I was running my 1080s at the end of last year, I went down the track with one hand on the steering wheel.
Right.
It was so, now, no. Like, I tell Jeanette every time I get in there, I'm like, I'm scared. And she looks at me like, what? I'm like, I'm scared and I'm nervous. Like, a 4,400-pound car on a 4.5-inch front tire with substantial sidewall.
Right.
And it does the slick dance. Like, not, like, that's a lot of car to keep straight if something happens.
Yeah.
And after my butthole puckered on the streetcar takeover no prep thing,
Yeah.
where I made it out like 330 feet and then ended up a little sideways.
Yeah, you're skating.
It's kind of scary. It was fun as all hell, but it's scary.
I was scared for you.
It was so cool. I want to no prep again. But anyways, we did come quite far from the... Do you remember after you put the headers on your car?
Yeah.
What'd you run? Like, I remember I was sitting at my cousin's house watching a movie, and you were there at the Bay City Rollers race.
Yeah.
And we had just got done doing like a 2.5 hour header swap on your car.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did it go that day?
1379 at 10
Right.
something. 101, 2.
By what we're used to, well, take that back, because last year we were probably right around that time because of all the fucking issues we had with that
Yeah,
thing.
it was running low 13s in the heat.
It was like, man, you think back, like, dude, that was slow.
Yeah.
Tell that time to your dad or my stepdad, they're like, 13.5 is moving.
Yeah.
The car next to me, my dad is like, that's only going to do 13.5, and that's moving. The Trans Am's next to me.
Yeah.
Like, what? Really? Now we live in a day and age where you buy a car and can go out there and run mid-12s. Almost any muscle car you buy with a sticky tire nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Mid-12s.
Yeah.
So we went from, like, we're steady moving up, and sooner or later, we're probably going to have to call it good.
Yeah.
I don't plan on doing that until I have a fucking tube chassis car. It probably won't be the Charger that's tube chassis, but
I was talking to a guy at work. Speaking of what you're talking about, talking to a guy at work. He came to talk to me because he was at the Dodge dealer, and was talking to the guy that sold him his truck, and was asking about the Scat Pack Challengers.
Mhm.
And the guy was like, "Well, crap, set of keys, we'll go drive one." And okay. So he went out and drove a Scat Pack Challenger with an 8-speed auto. And he came to work and couldn't wait to tell me about it. And
well, what a great time to be a car guy.
yeah.
Muscle car wars are back. Full swing.
Yeah.
Pocketbooks are deeper than ever.
Yeah.
Like, I can't afford any of these muscle cars that are involved in the new muscle car war.
No.
I mean, I could maybe afford a Scat Pack.
Right. Yeah, we could go buy Scat Packs.
But it would be a Scat Pack for a while.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I went a stock Scat Pack for a while.
Right, yeah. With mufflers or something stupid like that.
But, man, and I was telling you the other day, what a great time to be a car fan, and not only a car fan, a drag racing fan.
Yeah.
Dude, there's cool shit going on.
Yeah.
And the cool shit that's going on, guys, locally, we have to make it to if we want the cool shit to keep happening.
Yeah.
So, Street Racing Made Safe, we should probably try to make it to that if it comes again.
Yeah.
Streetcar Takeover, don't know why they haven't been to Michigan yet.
Right.
But, I mean, it's cool. It's popular now. It's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
So what, we're getting kind of long-winded here at 1:40.
Oh.
What's next? What do we got coming up next?
Well, we're not going to Michigan Mopar.
No, that would have been next.
Yeah.
But
you get your car fixed and I get my car fixed, and the next big thing is Hemi Insanity.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Hemi Insanity falls the week that pretty much all car shit ends.
Yeah.
I mean, the car season is, for the most part, dead in Michigan after the Dream Cruise.
Yeah.
You go back down to Woodward to Cruise, there ain't nobody on there.
Yeah, it dies down quite a bit.
And here we are, fucking with our cars, trying to get them to work 90% of the season.
Yeah.
Which is why next year, just throwing this out there, next year the Bully's coming for Killing Time Racing and the Shadow.
Well.
Probably not. But, dang, we've been fucking with them enough.
Right.
You know? Like,
I know.
Jeez, oh Pete, man.
I don't know. Something we haven't done? Do you have any mean comments lately?
I haven't heard any.
Hmm.
Oh, I get the usual, like, oh, if it was a GM car, it wouldn't have broke the axle. Which
Yeah.
motherfucker do you know that those CTSV axles are good till like 900 wheel? Stock. What the fuck,
Yeah.
Dodge?
Right.
Like, oh, let's put a 245 series tire on our car and axles that are only good for 400 wheel
Right.
and then sell it. My only complaint about Dodge, you buy a Dodge performance car, 245.
Right.
It's a flipping bicycle tire compared to what's on the Mustangs and the car. It looks
Right.
sissified.
Yeah. Oh.
They don't give us a good base to start with either. If a CTSV was running 1020s and still had stock axle and transmission, the fuck, Dodge.
Yeah. No kidding.
So, but I haven't got it. Have you got any?
Just the same stuff you had. I was talking about doing work on my car, and the guy at work told me that he putting a Coyote Mustang motor in there.
Oh,
like,
shit.
That kind of stuff. But,
You know, I'm sure if I could remember some of Charles's comments, which Charles is a super fan.
yeah.
He's a good friend of mine that I work with, and he'll definitely make a comment about something we talked about today.
Yeah.
And he's just sarcastic all the time. And you learn to love it about him because sometimes it's so sarcastic and quick-witted that you can't help but just laugh.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% sure that he has said something
Yeah.
that I just don't remember because it's...
Yeah. I get that all the time. If I get made fun of at work, it's about my car.
So we got Hemi Insanity.
Yep.
I don't have anything going on special other than going out there and going for broke and showing them people that say it can't be done
Yeah.
with a little blower that it is going to be done with a little blower.
Yep.
Hopefully. And you got the Hemi Insanity.
Yep.
You said you were a vendor for Detroit Muscle at the Hemi Insanity event.
Yep.
So then we got... So the next podcast we do... I mean, we might do one before then because that's a
Right.
ways out. But, I mean, we
Yeah.
haven't exactly been great about doing podcasts.
No, well, we need to get better about that.
So the next big thing is after the Dream Cruise,
Right.
which I would say we've almost been podcasting for a year, motherfuckers.
Yeah, we have.
I mean, the
And,
first podcast was after Modern Street Hemi Shootout.
Yeah. See, and this is episode 14?
Yeah. So we're good for over one a month.
Yeah.
We started out real strong.
Yeah.
Well,
and we didn't want to waste anybody's time during the winter either.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have shit to talk about in the winter.
Yeah, it was all hypothetical stuff.
I feel like, you know what though? I feel like bench racing is fun. I feel like in the wintertime we should just do more bench racing. We've discovered that if we don't sit down right away when all three of us get together and turn on the microphones, we run out of shit to talk about.
Yeah, all the good stuff
So-
goes away. I kept stopping you before we did this.
Right. If all three of us got together in the wintertime and bench raced,
Yeah.
people might want to listen to it.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, people
Could
want to
try it
listen to
out.
this.
Yeah.
It's because my voice is sexy. But, I mean, it's been a year and 14 episodes. We'll probably get 15 off,
Yeah.
you know? So, man, that's kind of... The number of episodes isn't disappointing, but shit, it's disappointing that we're coming up to the end.
Yeah.
And we've had problems the whole time. But I did manage to enjoy my car for a couple weeks before I broke it again.
Yeah.
So that's nice. And so is there any other Detroit Muscle stuff you're going to be doing? Like, is your schedule projected out past Hemi Insanity?
We're doing LX and Beyond Nationals on September 9th.
So we could podcast for that.
Yep.
I should have some stuff to talk about for that.
Yeah.
But so there's nothing after LX and Beyond.
Not that I'm aware of yet.
So, I mean, there is, if Detroit Muscle come out with a Hemi line of apparel,
Which is a possibility.
There is Springfest of LXs.
Yeah.
You might be able to find a way to get out there.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
There's no limit to the possibilities of this deal. So
for those that don't know what Springfest is it's the biggest modern Mopar car show in the country out in California.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't any racing.
Like March?
Yeah, but man, is there cool shit out there.
Yeah.
So, so we got a couple things on the docket for the new Detroit Muscle venture.
Yeah. And I think the podcast is going to start being a part of that deal too. So.
Well, I mean, hey, if we continue, listen to this. Anytime we can team up with other big automotive type things and whatever, make this thing big, that's good. So go to their website, Detroit Muscle.
Like it, comment on it.
Comment on it. Go to the bully page, like it, comment on it. Tell us what you drive, what you think. Go to Misconduct Racing page, like it, comment. Keep this thing going. There's people, not really, that want to shut this thing down. So,
you know what I like best about this whole deal is we talked about how all the good stuff that we're doing is I know deep down there's people that secretly don't like me and they hate everything that's going on right now.
But they listen.
Yeah.
They listen often, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
I probably get more Facebook page visits from them than I do anybody else.
I have noticed through the email thing that gets sent to us, we have got quite a few more visits. Yeah. Not likes, but it'll, like, if someone visits the page that doesn't already like the page, it says that we get a view.
Right.
So that's better than not viewing it.
Right.
I don't know what we got to do to get them to click the like button, but
we'll get there.
So it could potentially be in our minds huge. Yeah. Not like we're to the point of getting paid for this shit.
No.
But
I think we're inching closer to 250.
Right. I hit over 200 on the bullies, by the way. And people from street racing made safe.
Yeah.
And it actually doesn't come to my mind, but it comes to my fiance's mind very quick because all these people are asking questions about my car and where I'll be and what's going on and this and that. And I'm just like, and she goes, if you go to Facebook and you look for the bully and like it and follow it, everything bully related is on there.
There you go.
And I'm like, yeah, it's easy. Then I don't have to tell them squat. Go look.
Yeah.
We got a couple new listeners or new likes on the show page from that event.
Yep.